let's talk a little bit about the quality of life in Fort Wayne. We think about maybe cities on the East Coast that have the oceans, or cities that have mountains or have lakes, or have these wonderful geological features to build around that add to the maybe the quality or the quantity of what's there. We don't have those things in Fort Wayne. We do have our rivers, of
Yes.
course. Talk to me a little bit about your feelings on the quality of life here in Fort Wayne.
Well, it's interesting because I've had some people ask me about that. My children are almost grown. The youngest is a senior in high school, and the three out of college do not live here, and there are three in college now. I think that when you're young, maybe out of college, and you're not going to get if you don't get a high-paying job anywhere, maybe you look for where it's fun. And Fort Wayne is considered more as a family town. I think that's okay. But I think that's not, when it comes to building your career, you're looking for where will I be able to grow. And I found it fascinating when we took a tour of Sweetwater Sound, for example. Most of their employees do not come from Indiana or even the Midwest. They come from all over the United States and many even from other countries. And they come because it's a great place to work. It's a great job. And so if we have that here, if businesses are excited and we make it easier for them to grow, people will come. And I've asked them, I asked them when we took the tour, is it difficult for you? No, it's not difficult because of the job. And they think the music community, the arts community is thriving here. They think it's a well-hidden secret. So I think that we just don't market ourselves very well. But at the end of the day, when someone is looking for where they can grow, especially the high-tech jobs, they want to be able to know that there are always going to be challenges and new opportunities. And we have those here in Fort Wayne. We just have to make sure those who are seeking them know that they're available here.
Well, let's cut the government aspect out of this next question. And do you feel like the city is headed in the right direction overall?
Well, no, because I think that's the difference when you have a good leader. You have to be moving forward, and anything I've ever read about business leaders, CEOs, is you're never standing still. And I think in the last 4 years, that's what we've done. We have maintained, and you can't maintain because you're stagnant. And I think that's what we see right now. We haven't made any improvements in how we do business within the city. We haven't made any improvements in how we interact with businesses in our community. And we actually, I don't feel I've done a good job of how we spend and allocate our tax dollars. So if you haven't made changes, if you have the status quo in this fast-moving economy, then you're actually falling behind. And I think that's a problem. I think if we were judged as a publicly traded company, people would look at what our product has been in the last 4 years, and it hasn't changed, and other products in other communities have changed. So why would anybody want to purchase our product? Because it's not new, it's not innovative, and it's not serving a purpose anymore.
What's your sense of community when you look at our city? Are we gelled? Are we different factions?
Well, actually, I have a unique perspective for two reasons. I'm not from here originally, and so we've been here 21 years, so I really have been here for quite a while. Our children, we had 5 when we moved here. Our oldest was 6, so they've all been raised here, all 7. But so I've always felt this is an extremely welcoming community. We had opportunities early on to move elsewhere, and neither my husband and I have family in the state of Indiana, and we made a definitive decision to stay here and make this our home. So yes, obviously on a personal level, I find it very welcoming. But as a city council person at large, I've had the opportunity and considered it part of my responsibility to go to as many neighborhood meetings in all the quadrants in all parts of the city. And what I have found most interesting is at the end of the day, every neighborhood, every community within our community, if you will, has the same concerns. They want a place for their children to play safe. They want them to have a good school to go to. They want it to be close to them. They want to have nice neighborhoods and streets, and they don't want their neighborhood to look run down, et cetera, regardless of where they are in the city. And I think I have always found these communities to be welcoming of other people moving in. I think that is something that is really amazing, and you see that over and over again when I meet people who are newer than I am to Fort Wayne. That's what they say. They cannot believe how friendly people are here, whether it's showing them where to go buy the best gas, or where they go to shop, or find a daycare, or whatever it is, or job opportunities, networking. They're willing to share. That is something that Fort Wayne people do very, very well. They're very giving of themselves, and I think we've shown too over and over again we're a very philanthropic community. So I think that's one of our strengths, and I don't know really how you sell that. But I think when we get people here, I think that's why they like to stay here, and that's why they like to grow their business here if they can, because they understand that people are committed and they're very loyal to people who are here.
Mm-hmm. How good of a job do you think current government does at integrating and embracing the minorities that live in our city?
That's a challenge here, I think, mostly with our Burmese population. That's not a secret. We've had issues. There was a big meeting last year at the Public Safety Academy about how to work with the Burmese population. It's a unique population in Fort Wayne because of its size, 5,000 to 7,000, depending on what the census comes out with. And it's a refugee population, which is very unique in terms of where they came from. Their educational and work backgrounds are very different from what many of us experience. It's different than any other immigrant population we have in the city. And so that would be the only one that I think that the next government is going to have, the next administration, if you will have to look at. And there are a variety of reasons of why they're here in Fort Wayne, but I think we can all agree that we need to do a better job of integrating them, to making them more educated about what it is to be in the United States and how you function and how you live and how you work, but also making sure that they have the services that are out there and available, that they are provided to them.
Let's go back a little bit and talk about our young people. And I dislike intensely the term brain drain.
Yes.
I dislike that term. But when we stop and think about the exodus of our young talented people from the city, are there things that you think that we can do to change that, or at least slow that down?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there really is an exodus either. I agree with you, the brain drain, because not to belabor the point, when the mayor's deputy mayor announced that the social media consultant they hired was from Chicago because no one could do that here, that really insulted those young people who are here, who have those skills. And I think that's something we overlook too often. There are jobs to be filled in some of the higher tech companies, but I don't think it's that they don't want to come to Fort Wayne. I think it's more that those skill sets aren't being filled in colleges. So what I don't think we do is engage our youth, which is those younger than I am, but we don't engage them and link them up with the Innovation Center, the Urban Enterprise Association, and other government-related entities that are available for them to give them the skills. I mean, there's a whole slew of agencies over at IPFW, Small Business Administration, and things like that are there to help them. And we haven't done a good enough job probably of advertising that, but I think we have a lot of skilled youth, and maybe I'm biased. My oldest son is going to be 28. A lot of his friends and my other children's friends are here, and they chose to stay here. Many of them went away to college. They're back here. Some of them are starting families. And so they have those skills. They're not the brain drain issue, and yet we need to make sure that they have the opportunities going forward to grow in their professions.
So to clarify, what I believe I heard you say was, we have some of that infrastructure for addressing some of those issues. It's already in place and been in place.
Right. I just don't think we have collaborated enough, or had those agencies collaborate enough with each other, and we haven't gotten that information out to youth. They're not looking at it for that information in the traditional ways that I may have if I started a business 30 years ago, or our parents may have. They literally walked into a government agency office and said, where do I go for this? The younger people don't do that anymore, so we need to catch up with how are they looking for their information, so when they're looking for it, our information is right there on the front page, whatever that front page is.
Is that one of the problems of the nature of the beast of government in general? Is just there are so many different parts and so many different cogs and wheels, and things in motion that it's hard to make sure that everyone knows about everything that's going on.
Right, and that's why I think you need some fresh blood in there to take a step back and look at it. I mean, here's just a small microcosm. When I came on city council, the city council's minutes, and I use that loosely, minutes were kept on a VHS tape in the city clerk's office. That's just 4 years ago. Now, when my children were little, 25 years ago, I used VHS tapes for cartoons and movies, but even I was amazed that 4 years ago we were keeping our minutes on VHS tape. It works, but no one thought to update, innovate, that there might be more information sharing if we did it in a different way. Same thing, I'm on the Plan Commission. We post legal public notices, and it has to be posted in the newspaper. Unfortunately, the newspaper forgot, or who knows, forgot to post a legal public notice before Christmas at our December meeting. So that business who was asking for development plan approval had to wait a whole month until it was published again in the newspaper. Well, that's a law, a state law, but a law that has been in existence for a long time. However, not everybody buys the newspaper and gets their news from a piece of paper in the morning. They go online. So why can't we petition our state representative senators and have them post public notice on our website? And I would guarantee that our city's website receives as many hits as one of the two local public newspapers does. So that would be an alternative. It would actually be saving money for the citizens, but it would also give more access to people who want that information. So yes, we have to step back and say, yes, what we're doing serves the letter of the law, but can we make improvements so that we can actually get more information out to the citizens and serve them better?